Hello, everyone. I am Demetra K. I hope that you are having a great day. I want to say a big giant thank you to Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, for joining me here today on this Sunday, where we are every Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time. I should say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you. Hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, to my wonderful moderators for all that you do and holding down the comment section. Thank you so much. Love and appreciate you dearly. Graham, what's going on? Just Sister Shirley, Mike, Nice, Albie Chill, Brother Dom, my triple OG moderator. Hope you all are having a great day. So today we're going to be talking about Haitians in America outraged over TPS ending and facing deportation soon. So that is temporary protected status. We're going to get into all the particulars about that. But first, a couple of things happened over the last couple of days that I wanted to start off with. First, we want to say condolences to the Farrakhan family over the loss of Mother Khadijah Farrakhan. It was announced yesterday that she had passed away at the, age of 90, which is a blessing, right? Many people do not see the age of 90, but I would say that it was a shock to everybody, right? Because we had just saw her with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in May, I think it was, for his birthday party, where a whole lot of people were and everything like that. And so, may Allah be pleased with her, but she was considered to be mother of the faith, or faithful mother, or something like that. Basically, she had a lot of faith in doing the role of the first lady of the Nation of Islam, where it was rebuilt under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I think it was like 1978 or something like that. Now, there's a whole lot of things that have been said about Mother Khadijah, all great things. I have not seen anything bad, so not that we care about that, right? But all great things. But one of the things that I think about when you think of a first lady of a church, especially, is that oftentimes it is a sacrifice. I remember a long time ago, a first lady of a church saying that I wouldn't have chosen this for myself. I would have done something else. She said, I wanted to travel, go to France, and, just do my thing. But her husband was called to be a pastor. And so she decided to do that. And she said, yeah, there was times that I was like, wow, I just don't want to do it. So when I think about that, and I don't know that to be the testimony of Mother Khadijah, but I just think of the awesome responsibility that it is to be the first lady, behind such an awesome man. And we also know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan referred to Mother Khadijah as the wind beneath his wings. And, I saw a video not too long ago where he said if he had to give her a grade, he would give her an A+, right? And that she does a great job, or did a great job rather, of holding him together and, basically holding him accountable and things like that. So she will be missed dearly, but Allah is the best knower and his timing is perfect. And so as I learned, especially with the passing of my father, yeah, you feel sorrow, but you should not grieve, because Allah brought us here, and it's up to him to return us back to him. So, may Allah be pleased with her. Also, we want to give reverence to that of Tony Brown. Many of you guys have seen him and his works before, but Tony Brown, he passed away last week as well at the age of 93 years old. Now, a lot of us, and of course it was before my time, but he started off in the 60s with Tony Brown, the Black Journal on PBS. In fact, it is, I think, even to this day, known as the longest running program on PBS, okay? Now, Tony Brown's Black Journal, which turned to Tony Brown's Journal, it came about really to give Black voices and a educated opinion, right? Especially during the time of rioting and things like that. And of course, mainstream media, which we talk about a lot here, was painting Black Americans in a very negative light. So when he came along, he really gave it a, educated conversation. He had a whole host of people on there to discuss things Black American. But one thing about Tony Brown, he was unapologetically Black, did not care if the man, so to speak, liked or what he had to say. He was going to paint Black Americans in a good light and give us some other, something else to look forward to on the news about us. And so we want to say, may Allah be pleased with him. He is considered to be one of the founding fathers of Black media, right? So anyway, may Allah be pleased with him as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it for the sake of time, and then I will pass it to Donovan. So as you guys may or may not know, last week, the United States Supreme Court handed Trump a victory per se during the Mullen versus Doe decision, which was challenging the temporary protected status ending for Haitians and Syrians. Okay, so the Supreme Court said from a 6-3 ruling that, hey, you know what? There is no evidence citing that Trump is trying to kick you guys out because of race. That was the allegation. And so they basically said, well, the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security, you are allowed to, is Donovan frozen? I think he might be frozen. We'll see. You are allowed to proceed with deportations. And so those are supposed to be ramping up maybe, right? July 1st, that's when they can start. When they'll actually start, nobody really knows if it's weeks or if it's months or whatever, but it indeed is up. Okay. Now, in regards to Haitians, 350,000 Haitians face deportations. Now, we should say that the Obama administration gave them temporary protected status due to the earthquake that happened in 2010. And so many of them were allowed to come over here to work, right? And to be here on a temporary basis due to the destabilization rather of what was going on there, the infrastructure. And some people say it's just unsafe with crime and violence and things like that. Now, from what I understand, there was about, 12, maybe to 18 renewals of the temporary protected status, because it can be renewed either 6, 12, or 18 months, just depending, right? So I believe this particular one was up in February. So they had took it to the Supreme Court. Again, Supreme Court, 6 conservatives, 3 liberals ruled on it, and the conservatives won, for lack of better words. Now, as far as Syrians are concerned, they also got temporary protected status in 2012 under the Obama administration as well. It's about 6,000 of them that are facing deportation. Now, they came over here due to violence and a civil war, if you will, that was going on at the time. Now, some of the benefits that they can get, let's see, they can get protection from deportation. They can get work authorization, travel, protection, so they can come back and forth without, being kicked out of the country per se. They also get an independent taxpayer ID, driver's license. They can get a social security number for employment purposes. And some states like New York can issue them, cash aid, but on a federal level, they can't get those things. They're not supposed to anyway. So of course, you guys know with that, there are a lot of people, especially the Haitians, that are very concerned and outraged over the looming deportations, because it sounds like the Trump administration is wanting to ramp that up. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of videos, just kind of highlighting what's going on. And then I'll go ahead and give it to Donovan. So here we go. We're going to hear from a woman who was not happy. Here you go.
It's the time for all of us to raise our voices and to say this country is also our country, is also the country of our immigrants, because we are the one who built it.
Okay. So her name is, and I'm sorry, I she's a doctor or something, so forgive me, you guys probably saw it, but nevertheless, she is outraged over the ruling. She basically said that immigrants built this country. And if, they don't want to go home. Now, I should say this. I did look, Syria and Haiti, they are still very dangerous. In fact, the United States has issued level 4 travel advisories for both countries, stating to Americans, hey, you might want to be cautious going over there due to what's going on. So I'm just telling you. Now, the premise is that they are supposed to be able to stay due to the violence and things like that. But it kind of sounds like they didn't really go on those premises. They went under the premise of race. Again, the United States Supreme Court says, well, we don't see anything that says that you are being deported because of race. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is that of Megyn Kelly. And she is what like Trump said about Hillary, a nasty woman. Here you go.
Home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to Haiti. Sorry. I'm thinking about our friends in Ohio who've been dealing with these TPS Haitians for years now, who are drunk driving all over their towns and killing people. This is the whole cats and dogs thing. Like, they don't want to live like Americans live. And this was supposed to be it was supposed to be temporary help. And it's turned into another backdoor way of allowing someone permanent residency here. And they take advantage of all of our public services.
Okay, so again, taking advantage of all our public services, as I look, that's not necessarily true because there's a lot of things that they can't get. And I'm just speaking facts. I'm just, and as far as what she is saying, that she's making a claim that this is a country that they build as like, lady, you a colonizer, first of all. But she's basically saying to the Haitians, get out. We don't want you here. You don't want to simulate, to that of, I guess, America. I won't say too much about that, but yeah, that was Megyn Kelly, and her tone is very racist. I just want to say that right off the bat. But I also want to play a clip from Dr. Claude Anderson from the 1990s, and he was at Frederick Price's church in Los Angeles, and this is what he had to say about immigration in regards to Black Americans.
We have an unending influx of immigrants into the country. And that's what Dr. Price is talking about. And nobody, no Black politician, no Black organization wants to deal with that issue. They will avoid it at all costs, even though in their hearts they know that's one of the biggest problems for Black folk. We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the #2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being #2, you're gonna go down and become #4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were #2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're gonna get when you become #4. And the worst part about it is as you descend and go down to #4, those other groups are gonna go up. And as they go past you, you're gonna have major racial clashes in this country. You're gonna have fights all over this country between Blacks and Hispanics, Blacks and Asians, Blacks and poor whites. And Black folk cannot fight all these groups. Everybody can not always be against Black folk.
Okay. So again, that was Dr. Claude Anderson in the 1990s, basically foreshadowing what immigration would do to Black Americans. And if, boy, I tell you, if he ain't Nostradamus, because that's exactly what's going on to this day. Black Americans are in some sort of a back and forth, if you will, whatever you want to call it, with almost every other group here in America. And as you said, back then we were #2, whites being #1 as far as population, Blacks, Hispanics, and then Asians. And now it's whites, Hispanics, Blacks, Asians, and then so on and so forth. And so he basically outlined, well, if you aren't getting anything at #2, what do you think you're going to get at 3 and 4? And here we are, and we're able to answer that question. Now, before I give it to Donovan, I was listening to Al Sharpton today, and he was speaking about this situation with Haitians potentially being sent back. And he says that we all should be concerned about this because it's them today and us tomorrow. And of course, I nearly threw up when I heard him say that, because it's like more with the fear mongering of if we don't stick up and fight for everybody else, then we are next. So Donovan.
All right, welcome back, you guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in and hit that like button on the way out. Hope you guys are really enjoying this conversation that we're having. Again, thanks to our moderators and everybody that comes to the show and supports us wholeheartedly. Don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Get it on Google Play, Apple Store. And if you look at our scrolling banner there's ways you could contribute Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, whatever. By the way, if I freeze up, it is not me. It is the program. I got a notice on here just now. It's the program of StreamYard. So I don't know if it's people on there or whatever the deal is. So if I freeze up, I'm still here. I just got to wait for the program to follow through. So just bear with me there. Okay, a lot to unpack here. I too saw the lady with the heavy accent talking about immigrants built this country, and I had to laugh when I saw her. That doctor, whatever, I believe she's a head of some kind of group down there in Florida. And here's a woman with a heavy accent that sounds like she just got off the boat, and she's talking about they built the country. See, this goes back to what we've been saying, the Emancipation Channel's been saying, and a lot of the New Black media have been saying. A lot of these immigrants, be it from Africa, be it from Haiti, be it from the Caribbean, whatever, they are taught that we as FBA are immigrants. That's their mindset. We're immigrants too. But a lot of us, we're in the soil. So, I was just laughing when I saw her do that. And, and it goes to show you this lady has a doctorate or whatever her title is. I don't know if she's got a doctorate. We've seen what Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is about. So I don't know where she gets her doctorate, but whatever it is. And I'm thinking, here's a so-called educated woman who is spewing nonsense and outright lies to even say immigrants built this country, when it is a fact that immigrants contributed to the country. But this lady seems about my age, which means she's probably just got off the boat within the last 20 something years, if she got off the boat at all, with that heavy accent. So that means she came here after the country was built. And that's what kills me about a lot of these immigrants. They came here after everything was built. So who built that before they got here? Indigenous Black people. That's who did that. And yes, there is a travel advisory, but see, and I'm not correcting Demetra, I agree with everything that she said, but here's the thing with the travel advisory. The travel advisory is for American citizens. It is not for other citizens. It is to warn American citizens that if you take your ass down there, you might have some problems. Okay? That's what the travel advisory is about. It's for American citizens, not for British people, whatever. It's to notify American citizens that your government has said that if you go down there, you may have some problems. Now, let's get to the point of why a lot of these Haitians are here. Major earthquake over 20 something years ago happened down there. That is the agreement that brought them into the United States, which I think is total BS that Congress even invented something like that. But the point is, they're here under the guise of earthquake. To say that there's gang violence and stuff like that, that means nothing, because you could stop gang violence. That's why they're saying, regardless of the gang violence that's going on down there, that could be stopped. So you can go back to your home. What do they tell Negroes here in the United States? Oh my God, I got to get out of the hood. There's so much violence in Compton. There's so much violence in New York. I got to give. What does the government tell you? Go back to your home. Yeah, we know there's violence there, but that's where you're from. Take your ass back to the hood. Knowing all the violence, Chicago, all the violence that goes down there, is the government taking United States citizens and saying, yeah, we got to relocate you somewhere else because there's so much violence in your neighborhood? No, they're saying, go back to your home. And that's what they're telling these people. They came up here when they got approved to come into the country under TPS, temporary. They signed up for temporary status, knowing one day they will have to go back home. I'll give you a better example. When you let that relative or that friend of yours come and couch surf because, they got evicted, you know what I'm saying? They got evicted from their apartment. They need a place to stay for a couple of days. You say, okay, you can stay with me temporarily. When the hell does temporarily turn into forever? When does it turn in forever? When you tell somebody you can stay with me for a week, do you not want them out in a week? Of course you do. And then let's ask ourselves this. This is why the Supreme Court ruled on this. If the president, the executive branch, regardless of who the president is has the power to give TPS, why wouldn't they have the power to take it away? Does that make any sense? You give the executive branch power to give temporary status, but they don't have the power to take it away. Make that make sense. I mean, the lunacy and the nonsense that is going on. And then Megyn Kelly. I saw what Megyn Kelly said, and I agree with her. I don't agree with the way she said it, but I agree with what she's saying. These groups come here, they do not want to assimilate. Why is it that FBAs, when we were brought here, we had to lose our religion, our identity, our way of life, all this other stuff? We're the only group, everything was snatched from us and we had to assimilate. These other groups come here and they form Little Haiti. They form Little Saigon, Koreatown, China, Little Dominica. They don't want to assimilate into America. So if you don't want to assimilate here, get the hell out. Why come here? And now we are seeing these groups that come from these S-hole countries, whatever, that bring their communism and their socialism with them. Don't get me wrong. We have a socialist system and, Medicaid and all this other stuff that we have. But the point is, it's not compatible with American life. If you're an extremist and you come to this country, the infidels of the United States, it's not compatible here. And we're seeing what the Democratic Party is doing now. And I'm going to tell you guys this. On my page, I have a lot of extreme Democrats. They will stand 10 toes down for Democrats. And Demetra, I looked at some of them and I wrote to them and I said, hey, how is that communism going on in the Democratic Party? Because that's their answer to MAGA, is communism. Now, show me in the world where communism is successful. And don't say China, because China works on a capitalistic economic system. The last pure communist nation is in Cuba, and Cuba's fallen apart. Of course, we know because of the embargoes and all that other stuff. But the main point is it's not working. Communism does not work if it doesn't have a form of capitalism. So when I ask my friends that are far-right Democrats, Demetra, they were silent. They were silent. And I said, this is, and Demetra, you said this many times, this is inevitably what's going to happen when both parties go too far extreme left or right. And you're going to get these groups in here. Now, these communists in New York, they're not going to win because both parties are going to jam up on that group and get rid of them. But I'm going to say this. The reason of the communist rising in New York is because of weak democratic leadership. That is how communists get into countries and they do this. They defund the police. Oh, we're going to defund the police. That is one of the first things that communists do. They want chaos so that they can get in. So Megyn Kelly, get back to Megyn Kelly. She reminds me of Cheyenne. She's the modern day Cheyenne Bryant. The Emmett Till lady. She's one of those type of chicks, the white chicks from the 1950s.
Carolyn Bryant, cuz like Cheyenne Bryant, Carolyn Bryant. Yeah.
Carolyn, I'm sorry. So I'm thinking of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, but Carolyn Bryant. Because remember I told you guys, men are men, but the most influential person in a community is its woman. And Megyn Kelly reminded me of, if you look at old newsreels of the Little Rock Nine trying to go into schools, who were the main people jeering at those little children and, wanted to tear them apart? It was white women. And that's what Megyn Kelly reminded me of. But don't get me wrong. I agreed with what she was saying in the context of what she was saying. Didn't agree with how she said it. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. African Native, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. That's a hell of a donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Quan, what's going on? It says rest in power. Mother Khadijah Farrakhan in regards to Demetra. Says to subject matter, why is half the U.S. named after French? 1/3 of FBA descendants have Haitian blood. Now modern, non-Black Americans need to go TPS status. Do you want to say something?
The reason why a lot of the country has French, whatever he or she was saying, is, remember the Louisiana Purchase?
Yeah.
How much of land was purchased on that land? That was the majority of the United States. So yes, this is why. And I'm from Louisiana. I was born in Louisiana. They still operate under the Napoleonic codes. They don't have counties and stuff. They have parishes. So yes, that is a reason why. But this nonsense that most of us have a little bit of Haitian in us, that's nonsense. Don't even agree with that, because being from Louisiana, do they speak patois and all that stuff like that? Yes, they do. But it's not in the context that they try to blow it up like everybody's got a little Haitian in them. That is nonsense, and it's not true.
Yes. And so welcome to everybody. So yeah, the other thing too I want to point out is with the the TPS status, temporary protected status ending for Haitians and Syrians. It's Syrians, but it's more Haitians than it is Syrians. 6,000 Syrians, 350,000 Haitians. A lot of people are pretty I'd say mad at President Trump. But when Biden was in office, we all remember what happened, especially when the Haitians, they tried to come over through the Texas southern border. They were on top of horses. They, being the Border Patrol, lassoing them up, right? Biden said, oh, we can't afford to keep them here. And they, right? They flew them out. So I just think that has been all kinds of administrations being, if some people are accusing Trump of being unkind to the Haitian community. But we know that with Biden, he opened the doors for a whole lot of other people. Now, I've also said and always said that if anybody deserves TPS, it probably would be the Haitians, right? Some other people, but Haitians for sure, because as somebody else pointed out, the United States has had a hand in destabilizing the Haitian government, especially under the Clinton administration and things like that. Now, a lot of people are saying, it should be temporary. Yes, it is temporary. But then a lot of people are also asking, well, why didn't you in all this time, right, especially since 2010, work toward getting permanent status here? Now, as many people have said, yeah, they own businesses and things like that. They can own and operate, certain businesses, but it's the way they're formed, like LLCs or something like that. I think that's how they have to do it. So they're allowed to do that. And so I think the obvious question for a lot of people is, well, why would you own a business over here, but not make sure that you can stay, God forbid something happens? And I would say, unfortunately for them, some administrations, right, have made it comfortable for them. Even when Trump was in office the first time, he talked about it, but he wasn't really about it. Okay. Now, even though when he was campaigning his last time against Kamala, he kept saying, hey, we doing deportation, mass deportation. He was saying that in juxtaposition to what Biden had did. He did a mass immigration, right? So he says, we're going to turn it around. Their goal was 2 million people deported in his first year. It said that they deported, some self-deported, about 2.6 million. So they said that they were on schedule, and it sounds like they're going to be ramping it up even more so, because they did get the $70 billion funding for Department of Homeland Security. That was the point of contention there in the House between the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, this is the thing. So some people are saying they don't know exactly when. It sounds like Trump is like right now type thing. It could take weeks. Again, they have the green light on July 1st rather. So it could take weeks. It could take months. So there are ways and they're probably thinking about this now, that they could stay. Maybe they knew somebody here. They can get a green card type of thing. And some other ways somebody can sponsor them as far as an employer to say, hey, they good with me, I'm gonna sponsor them. And then that has to also be approved. So it doesn't sound like the Trump administration is wanting to make any concessions on that. Now, let's go back to why they took it to the Supreme Court to challenge what Trump was doing, because they said it's due to race. Again, Supreme Court says we can't really prove that. Now, do I believe it's due to race? Absolutely, it's due to race. Let's not lie to kick it, right? Because we know that
folks, we know what the systematic racism in this country operates.
Yeah, so he's also trying to bring over a whole bunch of white South Africans. He doesn't have a problem with white folks coming over here, although the white South Africans are like, yeah, I don't like America. I'm going to go back or whatever it is. But I will say this, and I didn't want to really go too far into the paint, but we have seen copious amount of commentary from Haitians that are here especially in regards to Black Americans. And it's like, wow, again, another group of people, and we should keep it a buck too. Haiti is the only one that fought for and won their freedom out of slavery, right? But then you come over here and you disparage Black Americans who have done nothing at all to you. Right now, you guys might infamously remember the Haitian. She went on some podcast or something, and the first words out of her mouth was, "You dirty Black Americans," and they're like, "What? Huh? Like, how did we get here?" So, and she had an accent as well. So I don't know if this particular ruling is going to affect her, but I just think it does deserve a conversation, because the group of people who know how to put feet to the streets and, make some things shake, whether, it was a civil rights movement, whatever it is, you want to come and disparage us. Now, another group of people learned that the hard way as well, and that was the Latinos. Well, I would say Latinos predominantly, but immigrants in general, when they would be doing these, ICE protests and things like that, one of the things that they were requesting is the help of Black Americans. And Black folks are like, well, you don't really like us any other time, right? You call us names and a whole host of other things. And so now that the man is on you, you want us to help. But see, the other thing too is, well, Black folks have been trying to tell y'all this is a whole different breed of racism over here. But see, they have listened to the narrative, which is why somebody like Tony Brown's Black Journal or Tony Brown's Journal was so important, because he would dispel a lot of things about Black Americans that people might hear, from the media. And so a lot of people hear these things about Black America or Black Americans and then decide that they will punch down on us. And it's like, well, we can't be deported. In spite of what Al Sharpton says or any of the other people, you guys are next. Where are they going to deport us to, right? So that's that fear mongering. But the other thing I want to say too, before I give it back to Donovan and I jump into the comment section, both of those TPS statuses, if you will, were given under the Obama administration, the first Black president. And even with the Haitian community and the Syrians, Black Americans, especially back then, was like, well, you guys keep doing for every group of people, but you practice benign neglect of us. So when Black Americans talk about things specifically done for us, we can't really point to anything, but the Haitians can, right? The Syrians and everybody else that's come over here, the Somali community, they all can point to something specific. Now, I want to say this as well. We have to pay attention to how they move when they come over here. They come over here. Yes, they build businesses. We know that they have a lot of programs and legs up and helps and things like that, but they also plant roots into political offices to where they can legislate for their own community. So we have to take note of that. And that's the other way I don't say illegal immigration, but immigration in general hurts Black Americans, because when we vote for the Democrats, and normally that's the Democrats doing that, we don't pay attention to whether they are Black American or Haitian or Jamaican or whatever it is. And then we look up one day and say, well, how is it that Yvette D. Clarke ends up as the president of the Congressional Black Caucus that does absolutely nothing for Black Americans? So there's a whole lot going on there. But Donovan, then I'm going to get back into the comment section.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too long with this because it's all total nonsense. The reason, like I said, you cannot explain to me how you've been here almost 20 years, knowing that you're here on temporary status and you might have to go back one day, tomorrow, next week, at any time. And you didn't do anything to upgrade your status. You didn't marry an American. You didn't apply for a residency card. You didn't do anything. So now it's time to go. And I want everybody to understand this. They say it's estimated 350,000 Haitians have to go. Right. This is another reason why Trump is fighting for the 14th Amendment thing that's going on. During the almost 20 years that those Haitians have been here, how many kids do you think were born during that time of people that aren't even citizens? But their children now are citizens. That makes more competition for our children. But I can say this, it is time for them to go. They were here 16 years. Nobody stopped them for upgrading their status. They had all that time to upgrade their status, but I'm going to tell you what I think that they were doing. Hey, we could hide among the Black people. We could hide among the FBAs. I'm Black and, they look like me and blah, blah, blah. And then if it really gets bad, the Negroes are going to do what they always do. They're going to stand up for everybody else but themselves. And that's what they were counting on. But it's a new day now because again, if 350,000 people have to leave, plus the Syrians and plus the Venezuelans, I think there was these other smaller groups. They only highlighted the bigger groups. There's a bunch of smaller groups that have to go as well. Y'all, the longer these people are here, basic economics, the more people you have, the bigger the demand, supply and demand. The less people you have, the prices come down. The more people you have, the prices go up, right? But this also means, especially you guys down in South Florida, that means there's going to be jobs opening. That's what that means. Jobs will be opening. So if you are looking for a job right now, you better keep your ear to the street, because these people have to go back. And you would be a damn fool to get in the streets and protest and for these people to do this. I want me personally, I want immigration the right way. I can't go to their country and do what they do to me, even though right now Haiti is in turmoil and they're going to tell you the gangs control everything. No, they do have a president. The president was appointed by the UN or something like that. Some guy is there. It's a weak ass government, but their government is there. Do you guys realize, as bad as Haiti's government is, they still enforce their immigration laws there? If you go there, they still enforce their immigration laws, as bad as it is there. So my point is this: it is time for these people to go. I want less competition for my children. I want less competition for my fellow Americans to get these jobs that they need to get to feed their families. America first. I don't disagree with that premise. Anything extra, sure, help anybody you can help. But the mere fact is, you cannot go to any country in this world and overstay your visa and expect to get resources. It's not going to happen. If you look at some videos on YouTube, look at these Americans in Thailand and all these little countries over there, and they're just on the streets because they lost their wallet or whatever. They have no possible way of getting out of the country. Of course, if they go to the State Department will loan them the money to get out. But the point is, you'll see these homeless Americans running around there without a pot to piss in nor a window to throw it out of. The immigration laws are basically universal around the world. So what is the outrage? It is time for these people to go home. I'm sick and tired of these people coming here telling me how great they are. And the Haitian Revolution, you guys haven't done nothing since the Haitian Revolution. I'll give you the credit that you had, but that was over 200 years ago. Tell me what you've done today. And what they've done today is flee. I have relatives that come from, the Caribbean and other places, and their particular family branch, when you say, well, where are your people from? Oh, we're from Jamaica. That's great. You're from Jamaica. Okay, where's your aunt at? Oh, she's in Canada. Where's your other sister at? Oh, she's in England. Where's the other sister at? Oh, she's in Houston. They are fleeing their country. Go make your country great is what we're saying. Don't tell me how great it was 200 years ago when you overthrew the French. Tell me what you've done for me lately. I want to know what you've done for me lately. What you've done. That was a Janet Jackson reference with the snake there. Okay, so tell me what you've done for me lately. You come here talking about we're lazy, we're this, we're that. You know what? We are lazy. That's why we're going to sit it out and let you and the United States government figure this whole mess out. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. And Jay, thank you for the donation. And y'all, thank you for becoming a member. And hello to everybody that's come on here. So like for me, I don't really get too much into the back and forth, the you this and you that, you this, that. I pay attention really more so on a political level and the things that it is doing to us. And that's why I played that clip from Dr. Claude Anderson, because that was in the 90s and he called it to a T. You see, the problem with us, and this is us coming back to us as Black Americans, we have been voting kind of for an everybody type thing, even though we were told, hey, stop doing that. Don't do that. You're going to regret it. It's going to come back to bite you. And so here we are. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people dislike Trump, and he's got a lot of things to be disliked for. Trust me, he's not my favorite person. But this his stance on immigration is on the money. Now, that's not to say there's not legal pathways to citizenship. There is legal. Well, I know they kind of tighten it up a little bit, but from 2010, right, and the Syrians got in 2012, there were avenues for them to be, and I know people who have become legal citizens in that time frame. It cost them some money and they have to do you got to go through the pathway, right? You can't just like skate in here, whatever it is. But now we see that voting for people who want to kick the doors wide open and welcome everybody, that has consequences for us. Now, I also been having conversations with people since Trump, and somebody said Tom Homan for president. That's funny. He's the border czar. Since they've been doing the mass deportations and things, I've heard people say in different cities and things that, things are lightening up. People are able to get jobs now. And I know some people say, hey, it was hard for me to get a job, or even some of the kids, right? And some of the restaurants and things like that, they're able to get jobs. And so, we're starting to see some alleviation from that. But yes, this month is not over yet, but the Supreme Court is supposed to issue a ruling on the 14th Amendment in regards to birthright citizenship. Now, on the side that's arguing that, hey, we as immigrants, and even illegal immigrants, because that's kind of what it is, illegal immigrants, we should benefit from that. If we have children here, we're not citizens, our children are citizens. Therefore, we are anchored to the country per that of the birthright citizenship 14th Amendment. But as Trump is arguing at the Supreme Court, that was not meant for everybody to come over here and have children and then glom on to the resources and things like that. Of course, you guys know with Obama, he, did DACA and all that kind of stuff. So it's, for the children whose parents aren't here legally. But we're going to see, exactly what happens now if the Supreme Court rules in his favor. Now, I've been listening to some, people talk about it. Some saying they don't think that the Supreme Court will change it, but then some people didn't think that, they would make this ruling as far as temporary protected status. We also know that the Supreme Court is stacked with a lot of Trump appointees. So this is going to be very interesting. And I'm going to tell you what, this is going to change the fabric of America in regards to illegal immigration. But my thing is this, and I was having this conversation with somebody before. I'm like, why would, let's say the Democrats, right? They champion illegal immigration or whatever. Why would you wait to get to this point before now you fight over it? But when you had power, you didn't do anything about it. You just said, hey, come over here. And you didn't protect these people at all. And so it remains to be seen. I will say this. Some people say that is mean-spirited, that if the, 14th Amendment does get, or I don't know if it's overturned, but basically saying, no, this is the hard line of who it's for. There's a lot of people, whatever, is going to be upset. They say that is mean, but it's not mean because it has been abused. And I think anybody who could look at it without being emotional will be able to understand that this is logical. You can't go do that. You can do it in some countries, not a lot, but for the most part, you can't really just go and say, hey, you like it here. I'm going to have a child over here. In fact, it has been proven, and it's not Latin, well, it's everybody, but I think they said Chinese citizens are also doing it as well, coming over here and purposely having babies so they can say, oops, we're here. That's not fair. Because once again, Black Americans, we get pushed out of things that were originally meant for us. And think about this, y'all. The Democratic Party is arguing on behalf of illegal immigrants, not saying a word about, well, we probably should try to argue on behalf of Black Americans because this was originally for them. So think about that the next time you want to give them a vote. And I'm not telling you to vote for the Republicans. I'm just saying to just be objective about what you're going to do.
Well, here's the thing, though. And, I do believe this channel and Demetra's channel is very, very fair in how we cover things. Because remember, the Supreme Court is 1/3 of the government. So, Demetra, how do you overturn a Supreme Court decision? You make a new law or you adjust the law that is already on the books. So right now, the Democrats should be making legislation to help their illegal and TPS future voters that they want. And when they get in power, or even if they don't have to wait till they get in power, get a bipartisan, because remember, the Asians got a bipartisan bill overwhelmingly. So they can override what the Supreme Court says and adjust what they need to do and make a new law. So all is not lost. We are going to have an election in about 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is. And if they get back in power, that's one of the things that they can do. They can write the law and reinstate the TPS and all this other stuff that they want to do, whatever, and then it can override what the Supreme Court does. But I'm going to bet this, because of precedents of over 100 years of birthright citizenship, I am going to say this. I believe they're going to interpret the law for the slave, is what it was meant. And I think going forward, they're not going to strip anybody of their citizenship that has it already based on precedent. But I think going forward, they're going to say, from moving forward, you have to have an American citizen. One of your parents have to be this, whatever. Both parents can't be illegal, whatever. So moving forward, I think they're going to adjust the rule, but they're not going to strip anybody of citizenship. So that's what a lot of people are worried about. They're going to strip people of their citizenship. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they're worried about it because there are some that are talking about doing it. I forget the senator's name. There's a few of them talking about they want to, strip certain people of citizenships and things like that. But it's like, okay, now y'all going a little bit too far into the weeds, because what they're basically saying is, we want to keep it as white as possible, because let's keep it real. They know what they're dealing with. They know it's a numbers game for them. They're not really populating like that. And so they're like, we're going to try to do everything we can to keep this country that we stole white. You know what I mean? So they are having those conversations. Y'all, thank you so much for that. It says, when the 14th Amendment ruling comes out, they're really going to be hurt. Well, they're supposed to render that decision this month. This month ends Tuesday. So it really remains to be seen. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be something else if the Supreme Court, which is the end all be all, like Donovan said, Congress can get together and say, hey, okay, let's propose this and let's vote on this and let's see if we can do A, B, C, and D. But the Supreme Court, and as I was talking to my daughter, I say you would have thought that the Democrats would have done something, because now that's president, right? That's presidents where they could say, hey, you know what? This is the ruling that was made before. So now they have something to match it up to. And they kind of always do. But if they rule in favor, and I'm going to say in favor of Black Americans, because that's what the 14th Amendment would be, in favor of Black Americans. Now, was Trump really arguing for us? No, but I think most people who would interpret that portion of the 14th Amendment would say, well, yeah, that's where it came from. Because the other conversation is, could the forefathers or the founding fathers, or whoever you want to call them, the stealing fathers, I don't know, would they been able to foreshadow back then that there would be an influx of immigrants coming over here and, having children, and then, anchoring, and I'm not using a derogatory way, that's actually a legal term, anchoring themselves to the country? Could they have foreseen that? So that's also a part of the argument with this, originally for the babies of slaves not to be hijacked by everybody else.
Yeah, and a good example of how you could change the Supreme Court decision. How many of you guys remember the Dred Scott decision? The Dred Scott decision basically said Black people are not citizens. You're never going to be a citizen. That's basically what it said. I'm paraphrasing, but it basically said you're not a citizen. You're not a human being. Basically, we have no rights that a white man's going to respect. Right? How did they change that law? Because the law is still on the books. They had to modify the law during the civil rights. The Republicans actually changed that law to where it gave us 14th Amendment and all the 15th Amendment, all these 13th Amendment and all this other stuff that overrode the Dred Scott decision. See, so when people are panicking out here, Dimitri, I just get so frustrated that as citizens of this great country, we spend so little time in our academia life, 12 years of grade school, whatever, general education, and we spend so little time on our basic rights as citizens. And this is why a lot of people don't understand how our government works. They just think, for some reason, we think our representatives are our leaders when they're our servants, and so on. So it's just amazing to me.
Absolutely. Facts, not feelings. It says can't send Haitians home unless you send other non-Black groups home who came over here on fraudulent means. Well, I think that's already in the works. So I think we got to understand too, and that that this is about the temporary protected status. So all the other people who are here illegally, because if you're here under temporary protected status, you're not here illegally. But as of July 1st, you will be, because that has been revoked, right? But so the other people who are here illegally, I think that it's safe to say that they're already being dealt with. You know, they don't have to. Well, some of them do. I guess most of them are trying to anyway. But I think the Supreme Court ruled against that as well, against certain processes in regards to illegal immigrants being over here and like going through the courts, because per the Constitution, they're supposed to get due process and things like that. So those people are already being dealt with. We're actually talking about people who are here on temporary protected status. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Let's see, Cyberdyne, what's going on with you?
And just real quick, you know, it's crazy to me how these people, they have their own country that they can go back to. We don't have a country. This is all we know. We're native here. It's just amazing to me how they have a country that they could go and make great. But see, they want to come here, take our resources and send it back to their home country, to people, you know, their families, members, or whatever, but they're not making it great there and building there. You know, like I said, go to Haiti and just mention the word Clinton. Just if you get a chance, not in the urban areas, but if you're in Haiti and some other area, just mention Clinton, and hopefully that person won't have a machete in their hand.
Absolutely. So yeah, you know, I know the argument is they can go back and do this, that, and the other, but I think we also got to, because I like to have like the whole conversation. A lot of those people were told they can come here, you know, under refugee status. That's how the Somali community got here. I know a lot of people talked about the Somali community committing fraud and things like that. And as I said, when I heard people talk about it so much, I was like, well, let me see what's going on. Because I'm one of those people, I like to see the whole side of the story. And they were, in fact, invited to come here, right? The Somali community there in Minnesota, when Nick Shirley went out there and did this expose and all this other stuff, you know, people ran, you know, did, you know, a number, if you will, talking about the Somalis, but they did not talk about how they were invited to come over here due to the destabilization of their government. Most notable, Black Hawk Down. Most people can resonate with that. So that's how they came over here. And a nonprofit group in Minnesota said, hey, that they're coming over here, we can actually help them with resources and get them set up and things like that. So that's how the Somali community ended up being the second largest Somali community outside of East Africa in Minnesota, right? So we also got to give it context. Now with the Haitians, the Syrians, it is a known fact that their government is, you know, going through some things, whether it's civil war. And if you know, right, a lot of times, and I haven't really researched Syria yet, I plan to, but a lot of times the United States, they're very complicit in destabilizing the government like they were with Somali, right? And they have been complicit since the Nixon administration. So in the 90s, it was like, okay, you got this, you know, civil war going on and it's a lot, there's famine and things. Y'all come over here. Again, I'm just trying to give it a context, because while I do agree that when you bring other groups of people over here, it does hurt American citizens. And we know disproportionately Black Americans, because we are always getting benign neglect. But when you only have the conversation from the point of view as they just need to go back home, it's like, okay, well, let's figure out why they got here. So keeping in mind that why they're here, also think about, did you vote for somebody who championed them coming over here? Did you vote for somebody that also helped to stabilize their government? I'm just saying, these are some things that we have to ask ourselves so that we don't continue to do those things, right? So, because I think we cheapen the conversation when we just say, oh, they got to go home. They got to get the hell out of here. Is it true that they have to? Yes, but let's not be dishonest in our conversation. Because what's going to happen is we're going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And then, and like Facts Not Feelings said, nobody talks about the Indian community. I live in Texas, and I'm going to tell you what, there's a whole lot of them, right? And we know it was an HB1 visa conversation and all that going on. So we have to be cognizant of why they're coming over here.
And just think, if Kamala had won the election, how many Indians, the gates would be blasted right open. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. But here's another thing. And if you guys go to my Facebook page, I put up the agreement of what a TPS means. It means you don't come over here and rob us deaf, dumb, and blind. That is disqualification for you to be here. Do you guys realize there are 350,000 Haitians? Of course, there's a small part of that community that's probably stealing, like in the Somalis, right? You got a small part of that community that's involved in stealing. It is very rare that people that break the agreement are deported out of the country. It is very rare. And even though TPS, if you do a crime, you are immediately deported. Your status is immediately gone. And very rare does that happen. So again, yes, importing these people here makes it more competition for us as Black people, our children, all this other stuff. But when you come into our house and you're stealing our goods, everybody has a problem with that. You're a guest here, and this is what you're doing. So.
Truth Hurt, how you doing? It says Haitian political leaders are corrupt if the United States can continuously interfere with clandestine activities. Yeah, and the last Haitian president that was assassinated, the United States allegedly, right? They found some of their military, Navy SEALs and things like that over there. And people said that they played a part in assassinating Moises, I think that was his name. Forgive me, but they had a hand in doing that. So I think, like you said, Truth Hurt, we have to tell the truth about the whole story, right? And as I said, if you're voting for people who are okay with doing what they're doing to other countries, then you're part of the problem as well. And then if you're voting for people who will champion illegal immigration or doing for people who are here, because if you're here on a temporary status, you are here legally for the time being, right? But if you're voting for people who would champion that, and then, because the reason why it's temporary, or they give it a temporary status, because they're like, hey, some of the things that's going on over there is fixable. Okay, that's the ideology, that it's fixable. The crime and things like that. If we help get your government stabilized and things like that. But then if you think about it too, especially when Doge came about, and I'm not saying that any of that should be going on. They removed a lot of aid and stuff from a lot of countries as well. So again, under the premise that it should be fixable, that's why it's temporary. It's not like you can come over here and you're stay because your country is just screwed over forever. But in a lot of cases, they're not fixed. So I just think we should just tell the whole story.
Yeah, and Dimitri and I were over there, or at least we're in the Dominican Republic side, and you guys, ask yourself this. Do you guys know there is no arms manufacturing in Haiti? So where did all those guns come from? How did they import all those guns?
Yeah.
See, there's a bigger phantom menace behind all this. But real quick, I want to talk. Allah, only amazing God, said Haitians are Black, and we Blacks need to reunite against racist Trump goons. Okay. I respect your opinion on that, but this is why I'm not a Pan-Africanist, and I've never been a Pan-Africanist, because Pan-Africanism, guess who's the only group that practiced it? FBAs for 60 years. And these other groups, they don't practice Pan-Africanism and uniting. They had 60 years to unite with us. And what did they do? I'm going to form Little Nigeria. I'm going to form Little Dominica. They don't want to do it. We're the only group that does it. In Africa, the problem in Africa is tribalism. Doesn't matter if you have the same color skin. If you're not of their tribe, they don't want to deal with you. Black people are the only one that does Pan-Africanism. And, we're done with it. We tried it 60 years. Nobody wants to ally with us. We have no friends. So I respect your opinion, but I think your opinion's a little outdated.
Yes, and if I remember, it says the comment, right? It's basically saying we should all unite. We should. That is the truth. We should all unite because the darker people of the earth have the same oppressor. Okay, everywhere you go, we've all, whether you Black, brown, yellow, red, whatever you are, we have the same oppressor. But we also got to remember that there was a number done on each one of us, right? With this hierarchy, you better than that one, this one, that one, and that's done on purpose so that the darker people of the earth do not unite. So should there be Black and brown unity? Yes, there should. Has there been? No. right? As I always say, whenever they talk about black and brown unity, it's always when they want the black to get together with the brown, but never the brown to get together with the black. So that has to, go both ways, as it does with every other community. But again, as I said earlier, coming to America and then punching down on Black Americans is like, well, first of all, we've never done anything to anybody, right? But you got to also remember the psychology of, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, Black folks have been number two. So when you're not that they're great because they're number one, but being that they're number one, you can punch down on number two. So in order to get close to white folks, I at least got to be over Black Americans, right? And that makes me closer to whiteness. And I'm going to do, if I'm these other groups of people, right, I'm going to do the same thing that massa or white folks do to Black Americans, so they can see that I'm not like them, which is what, the Latino leaders did. They made it clear. They didn't bite their tongue. They weren't dog whistling or anything like that. They were saying, hey, we do not want to align with the Negro. We don't care nothing about civil rights. We know that they're not getting their fair share, but we don't care. We see ourselves as white. So again, here we are in 2026. We have somebody like Trump who was saying, oh, okay, the gig is up. Then it's like, we need to unite. But it's like, y'all know what we've been wanting. You can go to any block in America and say, what do Black Americans want? Almost always people will say, well, we know they want reparations. But you know what? What happens when we bring up reparations? I didn't pay taxes. In fact, I took a screenshot. I might talk about it later on. But there was an immigrant that said, why do we need to pay reparations? I'm a taxpayer. And it's like, wait a minute. So then when you think, that's what I'm saying, like when you tell the whole story, then you know how we got here. Because that's an immigrant talking about, we don't deserve reparations, but you came over here and got the getting when the getting was good, after our ancestors paid in blood, sweat, and tears with the civil rights and all these other things. And there you are to fix your mouth to say, y'all don't deserve reparations. So then there's the unity that people are now saying we should get together. But it's like, well, y'all don't want to help us. In fact, y'all go directly against everything we say. Oh, y'all not slaves now. Oh, white people this, y'all find a way to amen and co-sign what the oppressor is doing, instead of saying, hey, let's help Black Americans get what they want, since they are, the one of the triple OG victims of America. Let's help them. And that way we can buy some good graces with them and they'll help us too. That's the unity that should be going on, but it's not. Let's see. Let me skip down. Let's skip it. Mad Dog, what's going on? What y'all be doing? Well, Rochelle, what's going on? It says immigrants are becoming a hindrance to FBAs and they're trying to replace us and more, dropping a load to gain citizenship. Visas need to be revoked. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah, this is a very interesting time that we're living in. I'll tell you that. And I'm just going down to acknowledge everybody haven't seen Jupiter. What's going on with you? Said that part, Donovan. They work for us, not lead us. Absolutely. Let's see. Brother Perry, how you doing? Says, I feel nothing for them and send them home. They're very disrespectful to FBAs anyway. Arnima says they are supposed to be our servants, but they're not unless you have enough money. But that's our fault as well, because we continue to send people to office or whatever it is. That what thumb their noses at us. Is like, no, we send you there to do for work for us. It does not the other way around. Half the time they won't even speak to you.
Right. And hey, don't get it twisted. Black politicians ain't that much better. FBA politicians ain't that much better, because if they were that much better, why are Black people still in the same position they were almost 80 years ago? We're in the same damn position. These guys just make money and stuff their pockets, make the Aunt Maxine. What is Aunt Maxine doing? She ain't doing nothing for the Black community, but she's representing the illegals and the Hispanic community, which is basically most of her constituents now. Look at Jimbo Clyburn, the number 3 Democrat. Number 3. Demetra, I still sit and I think about that. You are the 3rd most powerful Democrat at the time in the country, and you are head of one of the poorest districts in the country. How does that happen? So again, it isn't just immigrants and immigrant leadership. It's also within our leadership.
Absolutely. Walaikum salam. He says, I hope people on the other side understand that we don't have an issue with their country. It's the disrespect from their people in this country. It's not rocket science. I totally agree. Like I said, I don't get into the back and forth with all the other stuff. I just like to, look at the facts and then go from there or whatever it is, right? So I totally agree with you. Facts, not feelings, you say. USA toppled Haitian government a few years back. USA just stole the Venezuelan president. It's not fair to tell people to stay in their country when USA can't see to get out of their country. It goes both ways. That's why facts, not feelings, I like to, really give it the whole conversation. I'm not one of those people, are going to go off of just one side. I think the whole story needs to be told. So yeah, and again, they were given permission to be here. I mean, it was given permission a lot because it has to be renewed type thing. But so yeah, I hear you. Child of God, how you doing? Says the government is giving every Haitian who goes back $2,100 to help them get resettled. Shoot, let me go back. I got a house over there. Dion, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, Manny. What's going on with you? Let's see. Hey,
real quick, for you guys that don't know, $2,100 in Haiti, the average Haitian makes about $15 a month if they have a job.
Oh yeah,
so $2,100 goes a long way.
I sure will go back. John, how you doing? Says Democrats didn't move them into citizenship because they know Hispanic community is super conservative and will immediately vote for Republicans, which we have seen them do almost depending on what it is, right? 50-50. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Primo, you say, yep. Demetra Starchild, how you doing? Says they don't have the right to treat us bad. The government hurt them, not Black Americans. I totally agree too. That's why I'm saying, they don't have the ally in Black Americans really kind of at all. And why you hear a lot of people trying to guilt Black Americans in. It's like y'all don't guilt nobody else into aligning with other people. It's always Black Americans. Like somebody said, I talked about the other day. He's a Latino. He says, how come the Latinos don't go ask the Asians to help them? Why are you going to Black Americans? Everybody wants to ask Black Americans, but you're like, we're the most disrespected. And so it's like, if we're nothing, we don't have a culture and all these other things. It's like, well, why do you need us for? We ain't nothing, per what they're saying, right? Let's see. Just skipping down, Great Blackness. It says people will be reporting them to get them out faster. Yeah, unfortunately, they got July 1st is when they have to start leaving. So, Roxy, what's going on with you?
With that $70 billion that the immigration enforcement has, they have been gearing up in a military operation. I'm just speculating from my military experience. When it is nice and quiet the way it is, what's that they say, Demetra? Calm before the storm.
Uh-huh.
Watch what's going to kick off.
Hey, Brother Jonah, what is going on with you this fine Sunday? Is it hot in Chicago? It is hot here. It's like, ooh. Rolling Thunder says Haitians are doing all that to themselves. Just stop doing it. Yeah, I mean, they're not doing the destabilization because that was, 2021 or something like that, 2022, when America helped assassinate their president or whatever. So they're always meddling. But you would think you would come over here and sit down and, become friends instead of trying to become enemies. D-Mac, he say, I can't understand how the ones that are here legally don't give their people a game on why you should join the Blacks that are native here instead of coming to undermine, unless that's the plan. Well, it's been the plan under, more liberal policies and things like that. Because even Trump, his first term, it was stuff he talked about, but it wasn't really something he acted on like he is doing now. So I just think he made believers out of a lot of people the second term, Zachariah says, I understand. You said you haven't researched the country Syria, but what's the point anyway? They hate you the same. No. I'm not saying that I'm researching to make an excuse. I mean, I'm just researching for my own good to see exactly what happened over there. Why they had a civil war and why it's considered to be unsafe. That's all I'm saying. I just be wanting to know stuff. So it wasn't really based in anything. Let's see. Eric, thank you so much for the super sticker, the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Every little bit helps, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Harley, how you doing? Long time no see there. He says, I don't live in Texas, and I know it's hella Indians in Texas. That is just little India. Now it is. There's a lot. And what I noticed too here is they do have their like own little enclaves of, you know, different places that they live and, you know, all of that. So very tribal behavior from a lot of people. D Will, what's going on with you? Says they turned their backs on FBAs. I don't even know if they turned their backs on us at all because they never were in alliance with us ever. You know what I mean? So when you turn your back on somebody, that means that you kind of were helping them and then you abandon them. So immigrants coming over here, they never were in a position to abandon us. Does that make any sense? They may say that we have done that and we're not abandoning them either. Now, they may say that we're abandoning because our politicians that are Black have championed a lot of things for them, but they didn't get our buy-in because we know that when the politicians who say they're for us go champion everything else for everybody else, then that continues the benign neglect of us, which means that they know we have issues, but we'll just pretend that we don't see it, right? We'll close our eyes and maybe it'll go away as we go help everybody else. And so that's why we are where we are as well. Let's see, skipping down. Tiz, what's going on with you? Says Malcolm X once said Black people need to unite with each other before you even think about anybody. Yes, here in America, Black men and women in America. That was also said by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we have to get ourselves together. We obviously Malcolm X, a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? But we have to get ourselves together, do for self, accept our own, and be ourselves. Do for self, and all those other things. So, Black Americans, we don't have the time or the ability to really. We have the ability to some degree to help everybody else, but it's time that we focus on us. Like somebody said, it's not that we don't like those countries or people come from. We just don't like the disrespect. Just like with the Asian boycott. Many people are saying, oh, well, that's mean. It was just one guy. But I always ask you guys to hear that in reverse. And what they're really saying is, oh, it's just one Black kid. I don't understand why y'all are so mad. But we don't owe anybody anything. We don't owe them our money. Who we owe is ourselves. And we have been denying ourselves for a very long time. Buddha Cup, what's going on with you? Says folks only want to unite when it's beneficial to them only. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, you know, ask yourself this. In the times that we're living, the economic times that we're living, money is tight. Everybody is getting it under this Trump administration, right? Everybody's getting it. If Blacks are uncomfortable, everybody's going to be uncomfortable, right? Money is very tight. Now, at one time, America was very benevolent to the world. Those days are over, and that's what these people got to understand. We're broke. America is broke. That is why we continue to go to war, to keep the economy going and all this other, I mean, there's so many facets to it, but this idea that these immigrants have of this golden palace in America, and you go there and all this stuff is going to be available. We're broke. We can't even fund our own citizens. And we're going to go into debt for people that aren't supposed to be here. But then you go to their country, they protect their citizens, and under the same guise, they don't have the resource just to give their money away. And people have to realize that this is not the America of what's that plan? The Marshall Plan after World War II. And we're just giving all this money and helping everybody rebuild, and we're doing all that. We are broke, and this is the problem. And when people are fighting for limited resources, you're going to get some extreme stuff. Like I said, as a veteran, when you got 1 million veterans on the street, I get pretty upset at that. And I direct that focus on people that shouldn't be here. Again, if your household, when you do your budget and cousin Rufus comes over and then Shaquaqua comes, that's not in your budget. That is not in your budget. And you're going to get upset because it's making you work harder and harder. And so it isn't that we don't appreciate these people, whatever. The fact of the matter is we can't afford it. We are broke. Go home.
James, he says, how did New Orleans vote in a Latino mayor? 60% Black residents there in New Orleans. Yes, Latino mayor who is an immigrant here. And let me finish. An immigrant here as well. So, yeah, immigrant here as well. She's very pro illegal immigration. And Black folks voted her in. But she also had the Democratic machine behind her, too. So, yeah, very good point. So that's why I said we have to get total context so that we can make better decisions. Sav was going on. She says, if the United States toppled their government, would they want to come to the United States? Of course, they want to come to the United States because they are getting, opportunities and things like that. They're getting a safe haven, because that's the premise of refugee status, is to be brought to a safe haven. So, of course, they will want to do that. But yeah, they know that the United States did that. The United States usually participates in destabilization of governments for their own purposes, right? And it doesn't bother them to bring some people over here, right? That's kind of par for the course to get the greater picture, whatever that may be, wherever they're destabilizing ubiquity. What's going on with you? Says, how can a Haitian be here since 2010 earthquake and not be a naturalized citizen by now? It takes 5 to 7 years max to become a citizen after you get your green card. Yeah, I just think a lot of people got comfortable, like, why do I need to do it? And somebody said a minute ago that they did say that they could apply for permanent citizenship, which is true. They can. The question is, will they actually, approve it? So they can do that. But to your point, yeah, why now? Why did it take you so long? 350,000 Haitians are here under temporary protected status, and 6,000 Syrians. So it's like, and they've been here since 2012. So what was the holdup? Russell, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says Black Americans are the only fools who keeps everyone, who helps rather everyone accept themselves. That's why I said, well, see, when you tell the whole story, it's out of logic, not, out of emotion, because emotions, they come and go, but logic makes you think. So we have to understand that the politicians that we have been voting for have been championing these things. And somebody said something about socialism, facts and feelings, maybe it was you, socialism, communism, or whatever it is. Well, New York is seeing a whole lot of socialist candidates become successful, getting rid of what they call the centrist Democrats, who are kind of like, well, what had happened was we're going to wait and see. They're actually voting in candidates who are like, no, I'm unapologetically this. We need to do A, B, C, and D. Mondani, he is a Democratic socialist, and he said that he ran on that. And he is fulfilling a lot of campaign promises, freezing the rent for 2 years, put a moratorium on the deed thefts and things out there. He's opening up youth programs. I saw him jump in a swimming pool the other day with his full suit on, saying, hey, the New York City pools are now open for the summer and things like that. And so, yeah, the Democrats are actually seeing a reckoning. And that's why you see somebody like Letitia James speaking out against Zoran Mondani, saying, oh, well, in a sense, we don't really want to just destroy the Democratic Party. Is like, well, is he destroying it, or is he actually doing the things that y'all say y'all want to do, but you don't actually do? So, yeah. Perry, you say it's okay for them to delineate, but when we return the favor, it's now a problem, because you guys, again, you got to remember, we haven't been doing that. We have been strapping on the cape for everybody else and going to help everybody else put out their burning building. And we say, okay, now our turn. Can I get some water? And it's like, now, right? Because there has been no expectation from us. Like, I don't want to say we haven't totally, but we haven't acted on that. The way we vote, the way we spend money. How is it that we spend 97% of almost $2 trillion spending power with everybody else, and then we are still in a state of begging? We're coming out of that now, but giving all your money away and then saying, oh, I need somebody to help me, is like you gave your help away. Whose fault is that, really? Now, I know there's things like businesses and things like that, but we have to stop doing that. We can't do both, right? We can't complain about what's being done to us as we are helping them do it to us. Does that make sense? So, yeah.
Real quick, you guys, do us a favor, hit that like button. It's absolutely free. And if you guys want to buy Demetra K a coffee because she's got to get up early in the morning, please feel free to do so. Hit that like button so we could get this conversation out into the algorithm.
And thank you so much. Brother Samuel says, I believe Pan-Africanism is the Honorable Marcus Garvey stated. However, it's interesting how the world serpent has conditioned blacks from the diaspora to identify as white. What do they call white? That sounds like a riddle there. What do they call white? Are you saying what or who? What do they call white? You talking about people? Do tell. Fill that out for me a little bit. I don't want to speculate, if you will. And that's our resident mathematician in more than one way. Okay. Anonymous, how you doing? Says fact there is no official U.S. government order telling Haitians or Syrians to self-deport by July 1st. Well, that's when they don't have to self-deport, but that's when their status is officially over. It's July 1st. So whether they self-deport or not, I don't know anything about the money. Somebody said, I don't know. But that's when it's officially over. It's Wednesday, whenever the 1st is. So yeah. I mean, I know we don't think that they went all the way to the Supreme Court to say, well, we're going to decide and see. We're going to let people decide what they want to do. No, there's a.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we're rolling bowling ball Martin. He's been kind of silent until the situation comes up. It's kind of amazing to me that when it comes to immigrant issues, he's quick on his show to talk about that. And, and I'm just pointing out something that I just noticed about him. But when it comes to black issues, if it isn't for the Democratic Party, he has nothing to say. He's been silent for a couple of weeks in regards to things. But now that the decision has been made, he is 10 toes down talking about a people of color coalition and all this other stuff. And his demographic is 62 years old and above, I believe it is. So, he relies on a lot of older people. But it's just amazing to me how this guy, I think he's really more worried as the midterms are coming that those checks from the Democratic Party ain't coming, and he's got to start delivering some damn votes.
Yeah, I don't really listen to Roland at all. Sure, his talking points haven't changed. Zachariah says, every time I tune into new black media, you guys say something that reminds me of why I will never advocate for reparations. Well, reparations is really not up to you. It's something that is due to us, and it will come. It's not if, it's when. So I don't know what we have said to make you think that we don't deserve reparations, but that's your personal opinion. I can't change your mind. Beverly, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. Says thank you for all. Thank you too for what you do for us. Absolutely, it's our pleasure. And thank you.
Hey, Al Jackson says Karen Bass is at the BET Awards. This is what our politicians do. They want to be social media stars and stuff. They could care less.
Well, why is she there though? Why is she there? She's pandering, and she knows that pandering works, right? So again, we can holler about the immigrants coming over here, this, that, and the other. And Karen Bass is the queen of the illegal immigration, especially there in Los Angeles. I was up late last night having a back and forth for somebody. I couldn't even go back to sleep. I was so riled up, right? I didn't go back to sleep till like 1 o'clock. And we were talking about Karen Bass, and I'm like, at what point do you stop the bleeding? At what point do you see people for who they are? Karen Bass is the queen of illegal immigration there, and Nithya Romney, the other chick that's running against her, they're like they are the queens of illegal immigration and fumbling the ball, because Nithya sits on the city council as well, fumbling the ball on the homeless situation there. But yet there she is at the BET Awards to do what? Is she going to say, here, I'm here to give Los Angelinos that are black some reparations. I'm actually here to fix the houses that burnt down or do what I got to do. I'm actually here to tell y'all that I'm not championing illegal immigration anymore, because I know that hurts you Negroes here at the BET Awards. What is she there to do? Black people, you're so this and you're so that, and together we can do what? Pandering. She's no better than James Clyburn at a fish fry, the no voting, no voting, the tour buses, and all other foolishness they give us. That's all that is.
Lynn Richardson has a follow-up. She says, so now Karen Bass is not for FBAs, so she should not be at the BET Awards. Miss Richards, when has Karen Bass been for FBAs? Answer that question. Show me some legislation where she specifically wrote anything for FBA. She's the mayor of Los Angeles right now, and all she's pandering to is the Hispanic community. She was married to a Latino man. She's married to a Latino man again, I believe. And it is what it is. She is nothing pro-Black about her.
Well, and even she was married to Kermit the Frog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I this is the problem that I have. This is kind of why I was up late last night, okay? I just can't with the emotions. I don't care if Karen Bass goes to the BET Awards, but has Karen Bass been in the BET Awards before? Something tells me she hasn't been there before, but she knows she's up against Nithya, so she needs to get out there and get the pandering. But this last summer, she was running herself through the park talking about ICE out of LA, get away, standing up. Wait, hold on. Okay? Because, see, I'm not one of these people that want to talk. I got something for y'all, okay? And y'all bear with me. Let's see here. Let me get all the way to the bottom, y'all, because I know, let me see. Oops, let me stop here. Thank you so much. Says Trump and goons want super white America only. They've all, that's nothing new. That's what they want, right? But hold on, I got something for y'all. Hold on. We're going to dig into the crates of the Democratic's greatest hits.
Yeah, and I just got this thing. How many of you guys noticed Karen Bass's smile? It scares the crap out of me. It's like a Cheshire's cat smile. I don't know what it is. It's
y'all
just,
ready?
Ready. Let's do it.
Mayor Bass. Any comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak with?
Just wait and see.
Mayor Bass,
They will be leaving soon.
Mayor Bass, who did you speak with on the phone just now? Who did you speak with on the phone?
They had a pistol.
Wow.
Also, we're going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID, that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you know, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash. It's a couple $100. I don't know the exact amount.
That we have folks living in this country who've been here 20 years, they've started a family, they pay their taxes, many of them are homeowners, but they don't have a say over the policies that affect their children and their families on any given day. The motion only asks to seek to explore whether we want to head in that direction. I think the details of who's going to be involved, how we're going to do it, all that needs to get sussed out.
Okay, so what you saw there first was Karen Bass, who you guys are saying, you know, she can't go to, I don't care if she goes to the BET Awards, but that was her chasing ICE out of LA, illegal immigrants. If you are here illegal, that means you are breaking the law, but she's chasing ICE out of LA, does not want them to do their job, right? So she champions illegal immigration. There she was also talking about she's going to give them an Angelino car with a couple $100 because they're afraid to go outside because ICE might get them. Again, they're here illegally, but Black Californians, Black Los Angelinos are catching hell. They're being gentrified. They're being told they can't go here. They can't go there. Got everybody and their mama kicking Black folks in the tailbone there in Los Angeles. There's Black people coming up out the sewer in Los Angeles because they're homeless. And Karen Bass talking about my heart hurts. Oh, my heart is broken. So you don't know Black folks is living up under sewer, but you see, you know what's going on with all the illegal immigrants to the tune of giving them money. But I don't know any Black Los Angelinos that say that Karen Bass gave me a card. And then the last dude you saw there was Hugo Soto Garcia, I think his name is. He sits on the city council there in Los Angeles, and he was talking about illegal immigrants should have the right to vote. Do you know there's places in the United States of America where felons cannot vote or they can't vote right away, but they champion giving money to illegal, and this is LA, money to illegal immigrants. And they talking about they could vote when they came over here illegally. So you telling me that y'all are right with somebody getting back into office who are helping people break the law? But there's a lot of Black folks that are in these penitentiaries for far less than what those people are doing. And they doing 25 years to life. And y'all talking about what's wrong with Karen Bass being at the BET Awards. Like I said, is she going to be talking about policy there? Something that she's really actually going to do? The answer is hell no, because she know Negroes are silly and they get all warm and fuzzy to have a politician show up at the BET Awards to do what? I'm interested to see what she's got to say, but I tell you what, she ain't coming with no checks in her hand, not for Black folks anyway.
And by the way, they found out that some of those Angelino cards, $34 million of taxpayer money was funded through a GMO or whatever you call that. Those nonprofits that went to non-citizens. So that's another thing. And also 970 homeless Asians was given $1 million in the city of LA because they were homeless. But then they had 21,000 plus Black people that were homeless. They got zero. And this was Karen Bass.
Yeah, so why y'all so tender? I'm saying it just in general. Why are people so tender? Karen Bass, we need to have her in there to do what? Black folks are catching hell in Los Angeles. And y'all want to see more of that, and Nithya ain't no better. People talk about, Spencer Pratt, he's a reality star. Opposed to what? See, what people don't realize, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it, that we are politically immature, and a whole host of other people said that we are politically immature. But do you guys know that Nithya and Karen have a record to run on? So the record that you have seen, what would make you want to vote for more of that? Now, does Spencer have a record? No. But if he were to get in there and try to do some of those things, okay, great. But if he didn't, get him out of there. See, the problem with us too, and just in America in general, we think we need to leave people in there and definitely just keep effing up the rotation and just keep, and then we're, frustrated. And oh my God, I don't understand. Well, you keep voting them in there. So we got to grow up politically and stop, because she Black. She talk a good game. But what do you have to show for it? Absolutely nothing.
Right. And if this is professional politician who's been in politics for over 20, 30 years, and the homeless has increased, the destruction of the city has increased, and it's not all her fault, but the point is there's no legislation with Karen Bass's name on it that's changed Black people's lives or anybody's lives. The point is, if this is professional politicians that can't get nothing done, you have nothing to lose with the reality star. You have nothing to lose with the reality star. So we're going to leave a professional politician that hasn't done nothing in 30 years in office versus somebody. I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, Donald Trump is president right now. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't understand and it's just silliness. Like I said, I was up late last night. I was just like, then we wonder why we keep being in the situation we're in. You don't want a reality star or whatever it is, but then you couldn't tell me what exactly he was talking about because you were just reading headlines about the reality star, this, that, and the other, but you can't tell me what Karen Bass is actually doing that gives that she should continue to be voted into office, right? And Karen has pissed off people from all walks of life in Los Angeles. From the very wealthy,
even the Asians are pissed at her.
Yeah, from the very wealthy to people coming up out the sewer.
And then what's really sad about the whole thing in LA, they stole an election right in our faces. That's what scared me. It was like the what's her name, Romney, the ramen chick. She had conceded the election that she had lost. She conceded. Then within 7 days, all of a sudden she gets the majority of all the votes off of Skid Row. And then for what's scary is the fact that we as citizens did nothing about it. The machine, our political machine, barely shook. There was no lawsuits filed. I think there were a few, but I'm talking about just the outrage of how an election can be stolen. And then there's no difference between Karen Bass and the other chick. There's no difference. So the Democrats are going to stay in power regardless.
And Nithya stabbed her in the back 2 days before the deadline to file. Nithya got in after supporting Karen Bass. So I'm like, so y'all fools want to choose between somebody who stabbed the person who's doing a horrible job in the back? Is like, come on. At what point do we just stop with the lunacy? That's why I said, and I'm not blaming all that on Black folks, but at what point do we stop being complicit in what goes on with us? Karen Bass shouldn't get nobody's Black vote in Los Angeles, but we are enamored with the idea of somebody coming to the BET Awards. What's she gonna do? Let's stay together. Y'all remember Obama wowed everybody with that one, did he? You know, and hey, did a little dance and Glodadine and with just throwing they spanks everywhere. So we got to say, okay, that's nice, Karen. Mm-hmm. You're gonna, sing up there with Young Miami, where all my scamming.
well, remember, WAP. Maxine was running around with the WAP song. The audacity of WAP. Oh, what a great song and so outgoing. WAP. What does it mean? Crazy.
Right. I just thought about that. That'd be a perfect song for Karen Bass. Where all my scamming and spin that. Ooh, that'd be a perfect song for her. But as far as the election being stolen, I don't know if the election was stolen or anything like that. That's what people are saying. Of course, California, they're saying,
it is impossible for a third person candidate to come out with almost 90% of the vote in a week. It's statistically impossible. It was stolen. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know anything for sure. So we're gonna say, allegedly. Looks like I don't know. Who knows, right? Just going down to the bottom. Common Man, how you doing? Says, if people don't want to leave their home, what are they going to do with cash? You have to go outside to spend cash. What's up, y'all? I agree with you.
Well, you can do online if you got that credit card. You can do online. Uber Eats. I don't know.
Yeah, ICE be delivering some Uber Eats, right? I got your Chick-fil-A. Okay, I don't know. So anyway, let's see. Elijah, how you doing? Says good riddance. What? Who look better going than coming? You know what? You better stop. Blessed, beautiful. How you doing? Says karma is right around the corner. Yes, indeed. I'm just looking. Bernice, what's going on? She says scripture says my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And what's the other part of that? What's the other part of that? Because my daddy was always good at teaching me about that, right? My people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge, and the other part, I want to see if somebody's going to get that.
I want to give a shout out to my man Buckhorse out there in DC. What is going on with the mayor of Baltimore? He's given all this money allegedly to his advisor that doesn't show up for work. He was his campaign manager. I mean, there's all kinds of scandal. Buckhorse, you need to get down there and get us a report of what's really going on.
Yeah, they got a lot of that going on in every city, even here in Houston. There's a new position made for, it's a financial something. It's just a brand new position. They said this fool showed up in the last 2 years 13 times to work, and he's making, I think, about 150,000 or something. Showed up 13 times, and most of the I think he showed up 13 times or something like that, and he sent a couple of emails. It had nothing to do with work, and so they're like, "What is going on here?" So yeah, there's a lot of grifting going on everywhere. Let's see. I'm going down. Soto, how you doing? Says, I don't know if avoiding ICE is a felony, but these people are trying to get illegals voting rights. Says, but won't work to get ex-felons back their right to vote. That's what I'm saying. But you know, as Black Americans, you ain't supposed to care about that because you're supposed to be all together with everybody else and helping them get everything they need. And then when it's come your turn, talking about more soup, they be like, you never got no soup in the first place. Beat it. So yeah, it's just something to think about. But yeah, that should piss everybody off that they want to get illegal immigrants the right to vote there in Los Angeles County. But there are some people who are felons that can't vote or have to go through all these hoops of fire in order to do that. But you come over here legally and you get to because you get to have a say so.
Yeah, how do you enter a country illegally and then want say so because you're working illegally and paying taxes? I don't give a damn you're paying taxes. If you're working, they're gonna take those taxes automatically. Obviously, you're using a false social security number and all that other stuff. Everybody else has to pay taxes, so you're gonna pay taxes too. But you're not a citizen, and you want say so in a country that you're not a citizen. Make it make sense.
But again, I don't blame them. If I knew, listen, In Aboriginal copper, it's basking lather is what I'm using now. Basking lather and a good brush, some water, and a scarf. Think about it. You hear there's a land far, far away. It sounds like Lord of the Rings, right? There's a land far, far away where all you have to do is just make it there. Like Oz, okay? America's Oz. And you're going to go see the wizard. And when you go see the wizard, he's going to make sure you get all the things your heart desire. And you heard that he wants to do it. So once you get there, you're going to get money, you're going to get housing, you're going to get food, you're going to get education. Some cases you'll get medical care, and you might even get to vote because you should have a say so. Would you turn that down? Absolutely not. Let me pack my little hobo sack. You know, like Pee Wee Herman when he was on the train with the hobo and he jumped off with the Jimmy Crack corn damage. I'm on my way. You know, so but how are they allowed to do that? It's because of the way we vote here in America. We are too emotional. Oh gosh, I just want to vote for the joy. I mean, joy is cool. Don't get me wrong. I like joy, but the joy and vibes. We need joy. That's what Kamala said. We just bringing back the joy in politics. As people's stomachs are grumbling, right? You're talking about bringing back the joy, but then once you get in office, you're going to say, come on over. So it's the way we vote. What are you voting for?
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy. They want these open borders, but then they want the military and the police to protect them. You have open borders. These people are not vetted. This is why you're living next door to a killer or a rapist or whatever else is going on. And it blows my mind for people that have children, and you don't know that house that's full of illegals over there. They keep going in and out, and they're having their little parties and all that other stuff. You don't know what is happening. I don't know if you guys go to my Facebook page. Demetra, I have never posted so much crime around my house within the last 5 years. It used to be nice and quiet around here, but within the last 5 years, because of the open borders and what the Democrats have done, we have got crime. Sexual predators are being found around here, and it's just great. The good thing is they're smart enough to know not to come to the Duke of Edgemont's cul-de-sac because there's going to be some problems over here. But the fact of the matter is, these liberal women that have children and families, how dare you are okay. And I only wish for the best for you if you have daughters and things of that nature. How dare you want open borders and these people not being vetted, because you are setting other families and other people up for bad things to happen. And it's happening. Sex trafficking is going on, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but it was going on before these illegal immigrants got over here too, okay? Like I said, a lot of these people, family dogs ain't safe. I've been reading a lot of stories about that. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? My Lord. Yes, Brother Samuel, because they have rejected truth. Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge and the rejection of truth. So not only do you not have the knowledge, but then when you get the knowledge or the truth, you're like, well, that ain't what I heard. I saw it on Facebook on somebody meme that it said this. So yes. Let's see. Corey says, I'm a convicted felon. I did my time. That doesn't mean anything. Right. But so how does that make you feel, though, when you hear about city council people saying that they want to get illegal immigrants the right to vote? Or how do you feel about when you hear congresswomen saying that they want to get illegal immigrants reparations? It's a true story. I'd play you the video, but I don't think we have time. It's a true story. How you doing? You say if Democrats have to go that far to get votes, it means they are desperate. Oh, yes. The Democrats, as we know now, the establishment there, they getting a behinds handed to them. The people who are taking some of that pack money, yeah, they not getting in office. So, yeah. Manny, you say concentration camps is all I'ma say. Okay. Hey, Miss Sweets, how you doing? I hope that you're doing well.
But then again, you guys also got to think about it this way. If you are investing in the industrial prison complex type situation, you've got to maintain those beddings and things like that, and the contract with the federal government to house these illegals in detention. So again, I mean, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, same people, they're working together to make money. Look at these people's portfolios. Nancy Pelosi, how do you make all of that money? You do better than Wall Street experts in your Wall Street portfolio. And she wasn't even investigated. They didn't even bring charges against her. And now she is headed out of Congress with all of that tax money from alleged insider trading. I mean, it's to me, if people cannot see, they create a problem to get money to fix a problem that they have no intention of fixing. Thus, here in California, the homeless issue, Demetra, we know here in California, they've been doing that for years. They'll ship the homeless here, then they'll ship them back, give them tickets this back and forth. Now here in California, you guys, what you guys don't understand is they don't want to solve the homeless problem because it is now an industry to itself. More federal money gets coming down now that Trump stopped it, but that's what was going. They were taking all that federal money, giving it to the NGOs, and the NGOs were enriching themselves off of it. And yet more homeless kept coming and more problems. It's an industry within itself.
Black Bougie Bless, what's going on with you? So I just looked, it's not Jamaican owned from what I just saw. There is black Jamaican castor oil in the product, but she is black American. In fact, it says Basking that lather is not Jamaican owned. It's an independently operated black owned American business. It was founded by Shania Rainford, a board certified nurse practitioner based in the United States. So I'm just telling you what it said. So I don't know whether she is or not, but from what I just saw on a preliminary basis, she is not Jamaican. But, you know, I don't put anything in my hair. If it's black owned, green owned, purple owned, it has to line up with being non-toxic. So that's what I focus a lot more so on. Putting on and in my body is things that are not toxic. And unfortunately, a lot of black products do have a lot of toxic chemicals and stuff in their products. So you can use the app Yucca, YUKA, to scan some of these things to see. I'll entertain this. Ramon, how you doing? You say I look Haitian. What does Haitian look like? What does that look like?
Yeah, what does Haitian look like? Because they're light skinned, they're dark skinned, they're
That was just for kicks and giggles, y'all. I'm a Stelloni. Your name is kind of all together. O'Neill, how you doing? It says the entire BET network and its entire corporation, the BET Corporation, is entirely owned and operated by white America. I seriously hope this year FBAs will boycott the BET Awards. Yeah, so they're owned by the same people who own Paramount, which is Larry Ellison and them. They own that. They are Jewish, and they also own TikTok and a whole bunch of other things. Oracle, from what I understand. They do have a black board. Queen Latifah, LL Cool J, some other people are sitting on the board. They're supposed to be making these decisions and stuff. I don't know. It remains to be seen what they'll do tonight. Boycott if you want, whatever it is, you know. It's entertainment. I don't watch BET. I don't even have the ability. Well, I think I have some apps that I could watch it. But yeah, I don't watch BET on a regular basis because it's just a bunch of garbage on there. Sparkle, how you doing? He says, how can you be outraged in a place you don't belong? Well, they outraged. Y'all want to hear it again? Here, I'll show y'all.
It's the time for all of us to raise our voices and to say this country is also our country, is also the country of our immigrants, because we are the one who built it.
Outrage, ladies and gentlemen. Outrage. Let's see. Blessed, beautiful. You say excuses, okay. Rose, he says, not the dogs. Yes, the dogs, they not safe around people, and I don't get it. Like, what about dogs? How do you sit up and say, well, Fido looks rather ravishing?
Well, what about that white what was she, a teacher or a principal that just got convicted in Louisiana or Mississippi or something like that?
For that, I've,
No,
I've
no.
seen.
Yeah, for I guess with the student again, they're assaulting the students again.
I don't understand that either. How you look at these little kids and be like, something ain't right. Zachariah says, my people was destroyed for their lack of knowledge. The other part of that is not doing a damn thing after you know. Yeah, well, it's the rejection of the knowledge, the rejection of the truth. You just, okay, now I heard it. I don't care. Like you said, I'm not going to do anything about it. So, yeah. Willie said, water under the bridge. Now, Buckhorse says, Black Yo Brenner, I hope not. My people say he going to hell. Soto says, Allah. What? Somebody named Allah as a plant. I ain't even paying no mind. Okay. Dio Don Pierre, how you doing? I know I jacked your name up. He says, why are your people delineating? It's nothing personal. We're always told to delineate, right? It's nothing personal. I think the unfortunate part about the delineation conversation is that, and this is just my opinion, it hasn't really been explained in a way that does it justice. Because if you're delineating because you hate people, that's not going to last either. Just like if you're boycotting out of hate, if you're not boycotting because you love your people, Black Americans, then that'll stick. So the delineation is not because of hate. The delineation is because not only have we been neglected by everybody else, politicians, pastors, you name it, we've also been neglecting ourselves because we were told that there's this big happy family, and in theory it should be, but it just hasn't been. So Black Americans, we need everything. And even with the giving our money away, we give money away to everybody else and we only keep 3%. So the delineation is not because I'm not doing it out of hate. It's being done because Black Americans have been told to, and this is by Marcus Garvey, who wasn't Black American, but he damn sure was for Black Americans. He said, up you mighty nations, accomplish what you will. We're just talking about all of us in the diaspora. And of course, we know we've been told to do for self, to practice group economics and a whole host of other things. So I'm just saying that because it's not out of hate, not for me. I don't hate anybody. You're not supposed to. You dislike things or whatever. I don't even go that far, but yeah, it's out of love for ourselves, not out of hate for everybody else.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And like I said, it's not to be disrespectful. We love having these conversations, but I just find it kind of strange that when other groups delineate, nobody questions that.
Well, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Koreatown, Saigon,
Yeah.
Nobody questions that. And the thing is, we used to be separate under segregation. So it's nothing new to this country knowing what's going on. But, for me, speaking for myself, I find it outrageous when somebody asks me as a Black man, why am I delineating? Why are they delineating? Why are they delineating? Why are they doing it?
Yeah. And I get that, and that's why I said that kind of, the back and forth, it just kind of like a ping pong. I just think it's better just to explain it. People questioning us as to why we're delineating is our fault as well, because we haven't been. We've been, we all in, even though everybody else is showing us we not in for you, and we are just learning to stop doing that. And so we, just like with the Asian community, like, oh my God, why are you punishing? See, the fact that they use the word punish is like, why do you think us now using our money to better ourselves is a punishment to you? That's because we have been going in their establishments no matter how they treat us. So we, in a sense, aided in them having that false entitlement to our money. So I understand why people ask, why are y'all delineating? Because you haven't been doing that, right? We've come over, we've hijacked everything that you have, and y'all really haven't had a problem with it because y'all continue to vote for the parties that do the hijacking of everything that was meant for y'all. So now that we're having that conversation, I can understand the shock and awe of it, right? Somebody asked, how do you solve homelessness? I would say the same way that you solve the issues for illegal immigrants, right? Get them that with the stuff that they need. resources, whether it's drug rehab, because I know that's the other thing too. People say, they're all drug addicts. No, they're not all drug addicts. There are people who sleeping in their cars and go to work to 9 to 5 and go take a shower at Planet Fitness and do it all over again because they cannot afford housing. So the same way you're helping illegal immigrants, acclimate and get everything they need, we'll stop doing that and then do it for the people who are citizens and residents of said city or country.
Yeah, and here in California under Ronald Reagan, he got rid of the, hate to say this, insane asylums and facilities that would help mental illness. A good portion of our homeless here in California are mentally ill, be it due to natural progression. Some of it maybe doing frying their brains on the drugs, but we don't have the facilities anymore that you could place these people to get treatment. The first step is the treatment. You've got to treat these people, and treatment is not giving them free syringes like some of these NGOs are doing, free syringes and whatever, and free money so they can go get their drug. That's not helping the situation.
Allah, how you doing? He says, question, if they deport all illegal aliens, does it make your life better? Yes. The short answer is yes, it does. I hope that helps. And if you're Allah, aren't you all knowing? Yes, Rontel, that is my pleasure. I could just research stuff really quick. I try to do that. Miss Sweet says, wait, who built what? Everyone is taking credit for our ancestors' accomplishments. Diabolical. Yeah. And then that, in a sense, too, is why Black Americans say, huh? So you're going to sit up there and lie, huh? You're going to sit up there on that podium on national TV and lie? See, that's why we take a step back, too, because you're mad. Now you're lying, talking about you built this country. Well, if you built this country, then shouldn't you have a little bit more of a say-so as to what you guys do, whether you stay or go? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure that one out. Brandon and Brother Don says they built this country. Do they have a time machine? Stupid. Brandon says Haiti sold themselves to France for free. They just finished paying France reparations. You have to beat us. We're not just working for free. Okay. And Scoop says, ma'am, where did the immigrants build America? You disrespecting the blood of my ancestors again. Yeah. Cynthia says the Democratic Party are so concerned and worried about protecting their illegal criminal immigrants being separated from their families. But where's the loud cries and outrage for FBAs who also have loved ones incarcerated, overly sentenced, and they were separated from their families as well? Yeah. Knight of the Sword says, what I have in common to learn about Haitians growing up with them in school system, those that are directly from Haiti, delusion is the order of the day. Crucify the Democrat Party with a no vote. See, now we're talking. Now we're talking because the Haitians, Syrians, or anybody else that's over here, they didn't come over here. Some of them did, but they didn't come over here and get temporary protected status on their own. It was given to them. So if we vote for people who do that, then there is the problem. Like I said, if you knew that the land of Oz, you was going to get everything you wanted, wouldn't you go there? Absolutely. I'd be on my way after we get off of here.
Just click your heels and say 3 times.
That's right, damn it. What? K-Lab? What you say? I'll just read your comment. Brother Sam says, also, I'm seeing where they are recognizing O.J. Simpson in a new Bill Stadium seems like a good incentive to recharge the NFL boycott. I totally agree, because you cannot have the conversation about the Buffalo Bills without O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson brought them to prominence, and there they are, not just going to delete him altogether. First of all, he was found not guilty, but I wonder if there ever comes a time will Ben Roethlisberger be excluded from anything when he was running around taking stuff from ladies allegedly that they weren't trying to give it to him. Peyton Manning, they're not going to exclude him. So again, we got to keep in mind, OJ was found not guilty for the unaliving of Ron and Nicole. But yeah, so I agree with you, but we should have been did that. But see, got to prove them and let them know. That's how you feel, then that you ain't going to get our money. But yeah, that is diabolical, but it's their system. That's white folk stuff. And we continuously think that we should have say so because they let Jay-Z, talking about we passed kneeling and all this other stuff. And now we feel like, we can go back. Okay.
And now he's got his little album in the Target store after, we're supposed to be boycotting Target.
Yeah. C-Val, he says Al Sharpton, the lion, the grifter, his appearance are not free, by the way. Yeah, I don't know about any of that, but yeah, Al Sharpton do be lying. He sure was lying this morning. I was like, what? He was talking something else he was saying. Oh gosh, somebody said that Margaret Sanger, basically Margaret Sanger and Martin Luther King kind of worked together. And he said, that's not true. I heard the rumors. It's like, well, it is true. He took an award from her via that of Coretta Scott King, his wife, right? She actually accepted the award. He was somewhere else. He couldn't do it, but he sent word with Coretta to say that I will always regard this as one of my most cherished awards. But she said 30 years before he even got the award that we need to find a Negro preacher, in the Negro community to help sell eugenics. And so I don't know why Al Sharpton told that damn lie. Last Samurai says everyone delineated from us first. Absolutely. That is 100% true. Speed of that. How you doing? Says give them a dictionary. Tell them to look up the word temporary. They're not so smart after all. Well, but to think about it, is it really temporary if it was renewed 12 to 18 times? You know what I mean? And I know it is temporary, which is why I renewed, but I'm saying nobody had ever said to them or really forced the issue and said, hey, this is temporary. But again, that was on the premise that their problems in their said country was temporary, right? So there's kind of a little bit more that goes with it. I'm just saying that for the sake of context.
Yeah, real quick, farther down, Super Sam Clark says, could it be that Latinos are fighting for reparations in California because they really see it as their land that was illegally taken? Yeah, that's one of their sayings, that they want reparations because they think the land was illegally stolen. But see, they are mistaken. The land was not illegally stolen. The Mexican-American War, the Treaty of El Delgado, the Western states were paid for $15 million, which was the northern part of Mexico. It was legally paid for, regardless if you believe, back then and how it is. Legally, there is a treaty that their leader signed, whoever it was that represented Mexico. The land was paid for. And that is a lie that they continue to tell their children. And they still believe that today, that the land is illegally stolen. It was not stolen. It was paid for.
So Young says, and you like basket? Yeah, I like basket leather. It's I had my doubts at first because it wasn't holding, but I just had just washed my hair. So but you also say she's Jamaican and Black American. Okay, so she's both. So I think we're good. But the product comes up at 79% on Yucca, so it works for me. Because I need to preserve all my hair follicles. Donovan was not so successful, so I'm taking his lead and saying I got to do all I can to preserve the hair follicles I got left. Right. I don't want to end up like that, because we'll look like two shiny bald heads up on here, or I'll be over here with extreme comb over, with a hat on like Donovan, but just the hair in the front just. So yeah, I try not to put a lot of chemicals in my hair.
Or you'll be like that girl Cherry from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Don't you hop away from me.
Right. All right, now you say, I finally made a purchase from my first Black business. Laugh out loud. I feel good as a mug. I know that's right. Keep it up. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. And check out my video on the African Diaspora News channel that I did earlier about minimalism. We need to become minimalists because we all spend too much money. When you stop spending money, buy more of what you need and some of what you want. And you can save money. Then we could buy back the block, right? We can have big old giant fat savings accounts and things like that. We all have way too much stuff. We don't need it. Like, think about it. As I say, test it out. Go to your bathroom counter and say, do I need all of these things? You're probably going to say 75% of the stuff I don't need.
Dimitri, am I not a minimalist? I am a minimalist. Yeah. I mean, I'm throwing away stuff, especially in the digital age, you guys. Remember those days you have the little filing cabinets in your garage? Get rid of that filing cabinet. Have your kids scan all your documents and just have your marriage certificates, your deeds and all that other stuff. Right now, as a matter of fact, this morning, I got up and I have a 6 terabyte hard drive full of photos and important papers, and I put it in my little safe, fireproof safe. I'm good. If anything happens to me, everything I need to know is going to be on that hard drive for somebody to find and, and just go through it. All the documents they need. my military records, everything. You don't need to have all of this stuff, you guys. Your garage, and let me say this to you guys. I know you guys got kids talk about, Mom, can I leave my stuff over here? Because, Don't do it. The garage is for the car. Do not make it a storage facility. I have a friend that I went to her house to help her clean out her garage that was full of stuff that she wasn't even using anymore.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Niall, how you doing? So anyway, I didn't realize we were so over time, but we're going to get out of here. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all, but we will be back here tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a ruling about the 14th Amendment that will come down tomorrow. They said on in June that they would have one. That, boy, I'm telling you, everybody's biting their nails on that one. When I say everybody, I mean the people who have been benefiting erroneously, if you will, from the 14th Amendment. So that's going to be very interesting. Boy, that's going to be a punch in the gut to a lot of people, and if they rule that it stands, it's a punch in the gut to Black Americans. And it's also a punch in the gut. It should be a punch in the gut from us to the Democratic Party, who champions that and say nothing about us at all. That should be a wake-up call, honestly.
And really quick, Willie B. Israel says you need hard copies. Yes, of course you need hard copies of like certain documents and stuff. But guess what? See, and this is another thing. We don't participate in government. Do you know you can file any hard copy you want that you think is important with your county office? My DD 214 is filed with the county of Riverside. Such and such and such. Any document that you deem your marriage certificates, whatever you deem is important, you can file with the county. And if you have a military member in your family and they have their DD 214, have them file it with the county so that, God forbid, something happens, you don't have to go searching for their military benefits and their deeds. They can get it from the county or any document that you think is important. So no, in the digital age, you do not need hard copies. File it. If it's that important, file it with the county.
Or you can always, the easiest way, the poor man's way, is you can email it to yourself. So you can email it to yourself. You can scan it, take a photo of it. Even if, I'm just giving y'all a lazy way is take a photo, upload it to you, send it to your email, and compartmentalize it in your email. And that, unless you delete your email, because hard drives can be destroyed too. But you can email that stuff to you, and you can have a record of it as well. So just don't delete it. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.